Hi there, my name's uVideo, and this is going to be my submission of New Super Luigi U any percent for SGDQ 2022. I'm going to be commentating over a pre-recorded run. However, it is a no reset run that I did a couple days ago to prepare for a race, and I thought it went pretty well, so I thought this would just be a good no reset to commentate. This game was last shown off at SGDQ 2014, so an entire 8 years ago. And the last time the NSMB series made an appearance at a GDQ was still all the way back in 2019. So it's been a while. I would love to get the series into a GDQ again and be able to show it off in person. I think it would be a lot of fun. This is the shortest, most competitive, most active category for this game, and of course the most optimized, so it would be a blast to show off all the little optimizations that have gone into this run. So yeah, without delaying it any further, let's get started. So the time here is going to start when Luigi moves on the world map onto the level 1-1. So the first little optimization I can do here is slide down slopes. We're going to grab that acorn power-up, and that power-up is going to be used for the entire run. It is super important because it lets you do this move right here called a glide, which allows you to stay in the air for a lot longer, and that's going to be used to skip large portions of levels. So you can actually play as two different characters in this game. You saw me here play as Luigi. You can also play as a different character named Nabbit. The main difference between them is that Nabbit doesn't take damage. However, Nabbit also doesn't have the acorn power-up, so he can't, do this really powerful glide move. And he can't do what I'm going to show off right here, which is called a spin jump. So I will be using Luigi for this level. Right there I grabbed a star, because even though it takes a little bit of time to grab a star, it actually ends up being faster because you get a speed increase from the star. However, that speed increase doesn't apply when you're gliding, so I try to minimize my gliding as much as possible. Now the reason I did bring up Nabbit is because this level is actually slightly faster as Nabbit. However, it is a lot harder and you do risk taking a death, because that big jump that I did at the end of the level is much harder as Nabbit. It is the sort of thing that I would be willing to go for in a marathon run or a no reset run. I just didn't in this one, because I didn't want to risk dying. You can see there I lost a little over a second. The level is also faster as Nabbit, and that's for the reason that I mentioned earlier, that when you have the star power-up, you return to your normal running speed when you glide. Since you can't glide as Nabbit, you never return to that slower speed, so therefore the level is a little faster as Nabbit. But now we get to see Nabbit finally. So right now I've taken the secret exit at 1-2, and we are doing this secret level in World 1 now, and that's going to take us all the way to World 5. The one little optimization I do in this level is that I can take advantage of these streams that are coming out of the pipes that push me a little bit to the right. And it might not seem like they save very much time, but over the course of the level they actually save quite a bit. And then I actually use these downward pipes here as downward slopes to just get a little bit of a speed increase. One optimization I'm going to be doing in every level is I'm going to be turning left before I hit the flagpole, because it saves a little animation of your character swinging around the flagpole. As Luigi, it only saves a couple of frames every time you do it, but as Nabbit, I believe it saves around 25 frames, so I think almost 0.4 seconds, which is quite a lot of time. Definitely adds up over the course of the run. But yeah, the main premise of this run is we're just going to be choosing which character is faster on a level-by-level basis. So I believe we do more levels as Nabbit, but because they're shorter levels, I think more of the run is spent as Luigi. That text right there is about Nintendo's Miiverse. The Miiverse shut down years ago, but there was never any kind of update released that removed that text from the game, so that's still present, unfortunately. However, in the Switch release of the game, that text was actually removed, which makes sense. I'll talk a little bit more about the Switch version of this game, New Super Luigi U Deluxe, a little bit after this level, but first I want to talk about 5-1, because 5-1 features vines. And the important thing about vines is when you swing on them, you get a speed increase. And normally that speed increase would kind of stop after a second, but if you go neutral on the D-pad, you keep that increased speed for much longer, like as long as you're in the air. And you can even keep it if you keep chaining jumps off enemies like this. So we can literally save 3 seconds over not doing those, over not going neutral on the vine jumps in 5-1. It's like a significant time save, even in a very short level. So I wanted to talk about the Switch version of the game. So in this version, the way you play as Nabbit is you hold ZL when you enter a level. On the Switch version of the game, you actually open up a character menu and switch to Nabbit. And so it actually shows Nabbit on the world map. Like, you'll notice right here when I'm playing, it still shows Luigi on the world map in between levels, because Nabbit's just meant to be like an Easter egg, but on the Switch version, it shows Nabbit on the world map. And so, on the Switch version, if you play 5-1 as Nabbit, because you pop out on the world map as Nabbit, it doesn't want to show Nabbit here and in World 1, so it just doesn't play this cutscene, and it saves 37 seconds on the Switch version of the game. Unfortunately, we can't do that on the Wii U version, so we have to watch the cutscene. But the Wii U version actually still ends up being faster due to much faster load times throughout the run. There's not too much to say about this level. The one thing I do want to mention is that the other level I could have chosen, 5-2, I think is only 0.3 seconds slower. They're almost the same speed. And if I had gone for 1-2 as Nabbit and somehow taken a death, the game, if you die in a level as Nabbit, it treats it as dying as Luigi. And so I would have lost my power-up, but I could have just gone to 5-2 instead of 5-3 and gotten another power-up and only lost about 5 seconds, so it would not be a big deal for a marathon run. This next level is the hardest level in the run for sure, and the hardest skip. I'm going to be using my acorn suit to skip a 30-second auto-scroller here. And yeah, that is by far the hardest trick in this run. There is actually an easier method for doing that skip, but funny enough, the easier method is actually riskier. So in a marathon run, I would actually just go for the hard method, because you can just attempt it over and over until you get it. If you fail the easier method, it's very likely that you'll get hit or die. For this boss, there's actually a queue on the ground where I just do a full jump and I always land on his head. And from then, I just wait until his head stops shaking and then do a jump on him. And 3 hits kills him. It's always kind of a relief to get past that level, because, like I said, it's definitely the hardest of the run. And funny enough, that trick is actually exclusive to only any %. So yeah, luckily we don't really have to do that in any longer categories, so. And it's only, 6 minutes into the run, so it's a very big reset point. Our next level here is going to be 5-Ghost House. And this is another level where we're going to be grabbing a star. And after I grab the star, I'm actually going to try to very quickly activate a hidden block so that I can wall jump off the hidden block as I grab the star. Because wall jumping increases me to full speed. And so I want to have full speed even though I slow down here to grab the star. I want to have full speed as soon as I start moving again. And right here, this door, I try to enter it so that I'm almost at the center, but not quite at the center. Because if you're too far from the center of the door, Nabbit will do this slow animation of like walking all the way to the center and then enter the door. But if you're very close to the center or right at the center, he'll just walk right into the door, and so it saves time. if I'd happened to get hit anywhere in 5 Tower, this, like maybe on the boss fight, this would be a great opportunity to get my Acorn back. This next level is an auto-scroller, it has an Acorn, and, you know, if I don't have an Acorn though, I'm going to enter it as Nabbit. And this is where I want to talk about something really important. Some levels are the same speed to do whether you use Luigi or Nabbit. And, basically, if that is the case, I am always going to choose Nabbit. The reason for that is because whenever I hit a flagpole, for whatever reason, Nabbit jumps off the flagpole about 0.4 seconds faster than Luigi. I don't know why, but yeah, so you basically save 0.4 seconds for free at the end of any level as long as you do it as Nabbit. So yeah, like, this is just a great example of that. It's an auto-scroller, you know, you're always going to hit that flagpole at the same time, but it's faster to do it as Nabbit. The other little optimization in this level, with the flagpole at the end, you can't just hug the right side of the screen to grab it optimally. You have to actually time your jump into the flagpole, so I actually have a music cue to do my last jump, which is right there. That's the reason I didn't hit any of those P-switches throughout the level, was so that the normal level music would be playing the entire time and I could have that music cue. So yeah, just like that, we're out of World 5 and we're into World 7, so that's our last, like, big secret level. We will be taking 2 more secret exits to make these last 2 worlds shorter, but we're going to be playing them out all the way through. So 7-1 is one of the harder levels of the run. Most people will opt to do this level as Luigi, but again, I wanted to use Nabbits in order to save that little bit of time at the flagpole. So instead of using my glide to just glide over big portions of the level, we're going to be doing some really hard platforming. That very first triple jump I did there was really tight. Now we're going to be doing 2 other really tight jumps. If I fail these, it's very easy to die. So, you know, hopefully I wouldn't do that, but if I do, it's easy to back up. That jump is also very tight. We can do those small twirls as Nabbit to extend our jump just a little bit. Those are actually not possible to do with Acorn Luigi, so yeah, that is one other advantage to playing as Nabbit. And the reason it's not a big deal if I die there is because this next level actually has another backup Acorn power-up, so yeah, but if I don't have to get the backup, it is faster to play this one as Nabbit. This level's probably a good time for reading donations in a marathon run. There's honestly not too much to say here. The community likes to joke about this level being the hardest level of the run. I don't think I've ever lost a run to this level. I know one person who somehow managed to die here. I'm not actually sure how. I guess I should mention that even though Nabbit can't take damage, he can actually die if you do fall into a pit, or if you hit lava, but that's it. Or I guess if you run out of time on the clock, but that, of course, shouldn't happen in a speedrun. So this next level features these enemies called Fire Bros, and Fire Bros move around very sporadically and randomly, and they also throw fireballs very randomly. So we try to, you know, use them to help us make this first section faster, hopefully without getting hit. So that went pretty well. And then the second section is a bit of an auto-scroller, and a lot of people like to kill these 2 Fire Bros here, but instead I use another property of the Acorn suit, which is being able to cling onto this wall for a while, and I just use that to stay in the air above them so I never get hit. And this boss fight coming up is against Kamek, and this is definitely the biggest choke point of the run. Well, maybe not choke point, but biggest run killer. So Kamek spawns a pattern of blocks that you can use in order to hit him. However, there's like a number of different patterns you can get, and it's just random which one you get, so you have to hope you get lucky. And in addition to that, Kamek also spawns in a random spot for the first and second hits. The third hit, he always spawns on the same spot, but yeah, for the first 2 hits, I have to just guess and get lucky. So there, you know, I didn't get so lucky on my first spawn, so I had to get him the second try, but luckily that was pretty fast. The second try, I just got lucky with my guess, and then the third hit, he's always in the top middle. However, if you don't get to him in time, then he will spawn somewhere else random. So that actually was a pretty smooth Kamek fight. If I do happen to take damage on Kamek, there is a really good backup Acorn in this next level that barely costs any time. One thing I do want to mention that I haven't talked about yet is fireworks. So if you end a level with double digits on the timer, so like, you know, an 88 or a 77, you'll get what's called fireworks, which is basically like a longer level ending fanfare, where it plays like the original course clear theme from the original Super Mario Bros. And then it gives you like an extra power up into your inventory. You can use this to get backup acorns if you get a 77 on the clock. That is like a last case resort backup strategy. However, if you play as Nabbit and you get double digits, it actually doesn't give you fireworks. So that's one of the reasons Nabbit is faster for this level in particular. Alright, and then like I said, we're taking another secret exit to just skip a couple levels in World 7. So we're heading right to the final castle of World 7 already. 15 minutes into our speedrun. So this level is on a big cycle. We have to wait for this wall here to move out of our way, so I can just kind of kill some time while I'm waiting for it. However, you do want to do this level in such a way that you don't load the fire bars at the end until later. So I'm actually going to do some slowing down right here. I have a setup to load them at a certain time. And then I'm going to use the acorn to cling onto this wall and then wall jump right as that wall moves out of my way and get right through the fire bars. It all works out very cleanly as long as you time everything correctly. Those blue castle doors right there are actually very interesting. You have to enter them exactly in the middle for Luigi to walk in without doing an extra animation. Which can be kind of annoying in a PB attempt. So this boss right here, his gimmick is he like clones himself into like three different Ludwigs, and you're supposed to guess which is which. But you can actually just fly up to him and hit him before he does any of that. That's why the acorn power-up's just so overpowered. And then from then on, I always know when he's going to pop out of his shell. If you ever do mess up that first hit and you need to know which is the correct Ludwig to hit, each Ludwig shoots out like magic balls from his magic wand, and it's the Ludwig that shoots out 3 magic balls is always the correct one. I guess if you're ever in a situation where you need to know that. So we beat the castle of World 7, however there is one more level in World 7 we have to do, which is the airship level. The cool thing about the airship is the first part of it is an auto-scroller. You're supposed to wait on this cloud. However, it's really easy to skip this entire auto-scroller with the acorn power-up. The one little optimization I am going to do in this first room is I'm going to try to run along the cloud for as long as I can, because the cloud is moving to the right, so it gives me a little bit of a speed boost. And yeah, those bombs just line up in such a way that it's really convenient to bounce off of them. Alright, well this next room's a little bit of an auto-scroller, so I'm just going to talk about the boss that's coming up, Bowser Jr. With Bowser Jr., it might look like I'm waiting like several seconds too long to hit him. Like he's going to pop out of his clown car and I'm going to wait for a while, and you might think like, why is he waiting so long to hit him? Shouldn't he just hit him now? The thing is, Bowser Jr. is not actually able to be hit until he starts moving again. And so, if I do my hits perfectly, though, you will barely see him move at all, or you might not even see him move at all if I do it absolutely perfect. So right here, I can't hit him until he starts moving again after he punches out his gloves. There, you didn't even see him move, basically. There you saw him move like maybe a pixel, but barely. And then there, after the fight ends, I fly all the way to the left, onto that leftmost block, because right here these blocks fall from left to right. And this next cutscene actually starts sooner if Luigi touches the bottom of the screen there sooner. So yeah, by landing on the leftmost block, I hit the ground the soonest. And that saves about a whole second over landing on the rightmost block. It's actually a pretty significant time save. Alright, so we're going into World 8. 8-1 is kind of your typical lava meteor level that tends to be in every new Super Mario Bros. Game at this point. The meteor patterns are random, however that's only significant for one portion of the level, which is the secret exit, because for this secret exit we need to rely on meteors to break open the ceiling above us in order to reach a pipe. And so there are 3 different patterns you can get here with the meteors. 2 of them are good, and then 1 is bad. So yeah, there's basically a 1 in 3 chance of losing your speedrun here at a top level. But I mean, the worst pattern is 1.5 seconds. So like my PB is kind of at the point where I can't afford that kind of time loss. But I would say most people could afford it, but barely. But it's not too bad. I mean, you have a pretty good chance of getting lucky here. And then I jump all the way up top to that part there just so I can slide down that tiny little slope. That's actually kind of hard to do. Alright, so here I gotta wait, and luckily I got a good pattern, so that was nice. Alright, so we're done with Nabbit for the run. No more Nabbit. So the rest of the run is done as Luigi. However, if I did not have any more, like if I had lost my acorn power-up somewhere, I do know how to do the next 3 levels as Nabbit for a marathon run, and they really aren't that much slower. So it wouldn't be that big of a deal to do so. So this next level is done as Luigi because Luigi also has this acorn flying move that's very good for vertical movement, and he has this spin jump, and I had kind of glossed over the spin jump, but the spin jump is higher than a normal jump. It's actually the height of a triple jump. And then as I go into that pipe right there, I actually do a crouch in order to save time on the pipe animation, because when Luigi crouches, he actually becomes smaller, and so when you're smaller going into the pipe, there's less of Luigi entering the pipe, and so your pipe animation is faster. So this next level has what we call elevator skip. You're supposed to ride on these elevators here and like use the gamepad, like tilt the gamepad to move them left and right. That's really slow. And of course we can just use our acorn power-up to glide over the lava. This next room has a really cool looking jump. The hitboxes on these sparks is actually like smaller than they look. So you can basically jump through that one. Like the top part doesn't have a hitbox. And right there I'm doing what's called a fast acceleration. I've actually been doing these all over the run, but I didn't really mention it till now. So basically I do a jump and then a glide. And once I glide, that actually speeds me up to full running speed. So if I were to just run along the ground, it would take longer for me to reach top speed. Yeah, so I've been doing those all over the run. They just save a little bit of time each. And just like that, we're already into our final level. This run honestly flies by. So this level features Bowser Jr. in his clown car, and I'm going to move in a specific way in order to manipulate him. And the reason I want to manipulate him is because I'm actually going to use my acorn to cling on to the clown car for a while and use that to push me further to the right. Alright, so we're actually heading into the final boss now. This final boss has 2 phases. but the first one's kind of a joke. These fireballs right here are always the same. In other New Super Mario Bros. Games, or at least in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, they're random, but in this game they're always very consistent, so that's kind of nice. This big exclamation mark switch right here, I'm going to hit it as far to the right as I can, because right here there's a cutscene where Luigi walks off to the right, and he walks very slowly during the cutscene, so even though it takes a little bit longer to hit the right side of the switch, like, while I still have control of Luigi, I'm moving at full running speed, you know, as I move to the right of that switch. So it's faster to move all the way to the right then than it is during the cutscene when I'm walking really slow. And now we're going into the final Bowser fight. So there's a couple things that are going to happen here. The first one is something called it's called Fireball Skip, and I'm gonna do basically a fly right in front of Bowser's face at a certain time, and it's going to interfere with him spitting out a fireball, and so he just won't spit it out at me because I'm right in front of his face, and it'll say 4 seconds. The other thing that happens here on this fight is, you see Bowser Jr. there in his clown car? That's what we use to damage Bowser. We have to get into the clown car in order to hit Bowser. The thing is that Bowser Jr., we don't know where he's going to end up once we knock him out of the clown car right here. He flies like in a random direction every time. So luckily he was pretty easy to hit right there. But yeah, you want to hit him every time before you go into the clown car, or he's most likely going to take it back from you. And then right here I'm swerving over Bowser, and by keeping him in the middle of the arena like that, he actually jumps one less time, saving about 4 seconds. So right there I got a little bit unlucky with where Bowser Jr. ended up, and so I actually ended up getting hit. So I wasn't able to do the swerves in the middle of the arena to skip the jump for this second phase, unfortunately. So I did lose like 4 more seconds here at the end of the run. But I was still able to close it out with a 26:07, which is still a really awesome no reset time. Just to give some context, the world record for this is 25:58, and yeah, this was a 26:07, so only 9 seconds off of world record. I lost 5 seconds at the end, so the rest of the run was played only 4 seconds off world record. It was a really phenomenal no reset run, and I think I got to pretty much show off everything I wanted to show off for this game. So yeah, if you watched all the way through this run, I really appreciate it. And I just think this gave a great showcase of how I would play in a no reset setting, you know, playing a little bit safe, but still ideally playing close to an optimal level. I really love this category and this game, and yeah, I would love if this got a shot to be shown off at GDQ. So thanks for watching.